Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest in the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, today my guest is Liz Hart, and she is the president of leasing for North America over at Newmark, and this interview is part of our Milken Global Conference coverage series where we highlight some of the top attendees and participants of the Milken Global Conference over in Beverly Hills, which we've had the privilege of covering now for the last 3 going on 4 years. First thing first, Liz, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Adam.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong here. Now, I know we didn't meet each other in person, but you were at the conference this year, am I right?
You are. It was my first time at the conference. It was amazing. It was such an incredible few days together in Beverly Hills.
Oh, I love this. I love talking to first-time attendees. So obviously with the size of the company you work with and your position, I mean, I'm sure you go to conferences and have throughout your career. What made this one special for you as a first-time attendee?
I think one of the things that I found most amazing about Milken was actually just walking around the hallway and having access to so many leaders across so many parts of the business community. I saw so many different people that I admire and I look up to, and they were very accessible and very easy to talk to. And it was amazing to see at Milken, what are the things that we have in common as leaders? Yeah. So, things that we're all facing, like what's happening with artificial intelligence, how is the macroeconomic policy impacting our businesses, but all also having a different point of view depending on which part of the business community you're coming from.
Yeah. Now, I love that you say that, depending on what side of the community or the business community you're coming from, because obviously you're in commercial real estate, and for myself, I'm in media. But when I go there, I'm like a kid in a candy store. I go to all these different sessions that have nothing to do with what I do, and it's kind of fun to be able to see because sometimes I'll speak for myself. We're in these silos where we're in our day to day, and obviously running the business operations, things like that. But to be out there it's like a breath of fresh air. Did you experience that at all? Like pop into some sessions that maybe weren't real estate related and things like that?
I did. I went to a few on health, and there was one on parenting that I thought was fantastic. And I think even at one point I got to hold a puppy, which is pretty fun in that wellness area outside.
Oh, the wellness area. You know what? I do have FOMO in that one. And next year I will hit that wellness area. I'm working at the conference too, doing interviews and things like that. Some of our on-site coverage. So I don't always get to get away because I get pulled to one thing or another. So I still get to have to work it, let's say. But I'm like, how did I miss the wellness area? And they had puppies? Come on.
It was so much fun. Well, next year you can interview me and I'll hold a puppy during it, and so can you. So we'll be able to kill 2 birds with one stone.
Game on. Well, let's switch it up a bit. I do want to talk a little bit more about what you're doing and your role in leadership over at Newmark. So first off, tell us a little bit more about your career, really, and how you got to where you're at.
Sure, happy to. So actually, I'm up on an anniversary. August 1st will be my 20th anniversary of working in commercial real estate.
Woohoo,
and
congratulations.
I know, long time, right? August 1st.
No, congrats. That's awesome. Go ahead.
And you know what's even crazier, Adam, is I actually started at a company that the company I am a president of now acquired. So I'm one of those rare people that's been in the same business, in the same industry, and at the same company through different chapters for 20 years.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And so give me some milestones. Like a lot is encapsulated in a 20-year journey.
Yeah, there's a lot to encapsulate. And I think what's really great about that is if you do 20 years in a similar trajectory, you get these different chapters of how your leadership style can evolve. And I think you'll probably know this from your own experience. A lot of those leadership evolutions happen through some of the challenges that happen in our careers, don't they? Where you have something that comes your way that you're not expecting, and you got to figure out how to get through it.
Yeah, definitely. And this is kind of one of those pay it forward questions that I like to get to say, especially when someone's been in their field for a bit, is you're talking to somebody right now, just entering the industry in commercial real estate. What kind of conversations are you having?
Yeah, well, I think for people who are just starting off, I always say, I was like, when I first started, I had all these superpowers that I didn't realize were superpowers. And, one of them is maybe kind of funny, which is that I understood social media, right? Because 20 years ago, it was very nascent and it wasn't something that was very well known. Now, in influencer culture, obviously, there'll be a next generation thing that's coming. It's never the same 20 years ago as it is today, or it'll be 20 years in the future. But when you're starting out in your career, what is amazing is to look around, understand what your generation is doing, and speak to them, right? Start developing your network, start to develop your point of view. And, when the GFC happened, the great financial crisis, I was pretty new in the business. I was brand new in the business. And that was really my first, time in trying to figure out how to lead, how to tell an opinion, how to leverage my social network to make sure that I was continuing to be in front of clients and growing my business even during a downturn. And it ended up being a great chapter for me because I leaned in to the opportunity of the moment instead of being kind of overwhelmed by some of the news headlines that could have been pretty scary back then.
Oh, yeah. When you're thinking about developments or trends, you did mention briefly when we were talking about the Milken conference, AI and maybe some other sessions you saw. What kind of trends are you following right now? Like, what's on your day-to-day conversations?
I'm definitely tracking AI very closely right now. But what I think is very interesting about what's happening with artificial intelligence is how much I hear myself and other business leaders actually leaning into what makes us innately human. So what makes us leaders? How do we actually create flexible, forward-looking, people-first cultures in this age? Because you're going to need those people, those really talented people, still drive the industry forward, right? Even if they are helped by AI or agentic workflows or even, agents as employees, which is something that we're not really experimenting with yet, but we can see sort of potentially on the horizon.
Wow.
But still,
I love that we're already talking about that. That's so interesting, right? Like, who would have thought, 5 years ago? Not even. I don't even know when I would have said that, right? That's amazing to even have the conversation, right? Go ahead, please.
Yeah, it is crazy to think of, but I think it's not a moment to be scared. It's a moment to be confident in our own skills, right? And confident in what do we understand and how are we going to prompt the machines? We're still in charge. So how do we grow our businesses with this as a partner? But how do we still make sure that people feel really enthusiastic and excited about the plethora of opportunities that come with this technological transformation? I mean, I think jobs are coming that you and I can't even dream of now, right? Because we'll be able to solve bigger and more complex problems across many industries.
Yeah, and so speaking of that, and I don't know, I'm not going to tie this and say that I'm solving a bigger and complex problem, but I do like to mention when you think about jobs that will be created and things that we can't even think about right now. When I was in college, if you would ask me, am I going to be a podcaster, Liz? I don't know if podcasts existed. I don't know what. I'm like, yeah, what does that even mean? So
what did you want to be? I'm curious.
Actually, my background of all things, I was in finance for almost 14 years before getting into media. So I was managed money. I mean, I started at Raymond James when I was 16 at my first in their IRA department. So I was a lifer, and I thought I'd be doing that forever. I loved it. I love the companies. I worked for a bunch of the big companies like Vanguard, Schwab. I had my own RIA before I exited at the end of it all, and went full time in media. But I was and I like to bring that up when I can or when the opportunity arises on this show, because I feel like whether it's commercial real estate, whether it's being a financial advisor, managing money, or things like this, I like to always bring that out because they're great fields, they're great industries. I think they just provide great qualities of life that maybe some of that don't always get as much attention, let's just say, in the media, and people don't always even know their opportunities. But it afforded me a wonderful life, and many other individuals, like yourself included, from what I'm hearing. So I always try to attract the younger crowd to hey, look into what this is. It's cool.
Yeah. Set your foundation, right? It probably created a great network for you, which is important early career, also a great skill set, and really, you learn how to do time management and work, right? That's part of it too, is just learning what that looks like for you so that you can really lean into the opportunities you're excited about. Yeah,
I think it's wonderful, and it gives you that, exactly what you said. It does give you that basis. Well, and speaking of the next generation, how are you working on and or mentoring the next generation of talent, whether it's at Newmark or one-on-one yourself? Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think it would really break into three parts for me. The first part is that I think it's really important just to be accessible for people who are entering in the industry, right? So this morning I met with one of our many interns and just talked to them about what's important to them and how are they thinking about their early career. And I really try to be accessible and visible to them. I think particularly as a woman in the industry, I want to make sure that I'm available so that people can ask questions, because there aren't as many of us, as you know, in senior leadership positions. And so that way, people have my point of view that may be a little bit different. The second thing is, I think, trying to encourage people that commercial real estate is bigger than just the buildings. It's how you think about your city, how you think about the people who live in that city. It's more than the buildings. It's the community, right? And how are they engaging with the community so that they can be good corporate citizens and also, have a point of view on the policies that are going to certainly impact the commercial real estate that we work with every day. And then the third is, look, as much as mentorship is about you helping someone else, I think you and I know it's also a strategic priority as a leader, right? Because you want to be bringing people in, and it's about talent development and making sure that the next generation is shaping what we want real estate to become and what we want Newmark to become in the future. So we're very committed to making sure that we have a place for people to come and learn. I mean, as I told you at the beginning of the show, like I started because someone took a chance on me. And I hope that, coming up behind me are other people who get to have as rich and enjoyable of a career as I've had here.
Amazing. Final question, Liz. What's next? I mean, what's next for you? Anything you care to comment on for Newmark or otherwise? What's next?
I'm really excited about 2025. I mean, I think the 5 years post-pandemic was a little bit rough for aspects of commercial real estate to say the least. But this year, we're seeing a 30% increase in national demand across the country. Really great growth from the technology sector, which is, as I mentioned, what I kind of focused on for a majority of my career, the financial services sector, the legal sector. And so we're really optimistic about what this year is going to hold for the industry. And I think what's really exciting is our clients are really starting to understand how real estate can be a mechanism to align to their business goals. And so it's not just a place to sit, but it's really a tool that you can use to accelerate your business. And it's really exciting to see people engaging in a really meaningful way about that again.
Perfect. If somebody's listening or watching this, Liz, and they want to follow up, learn more about Newmark, follow you, how do they do that?
I would just follow me on LinkedIn. It's Liz Hart, and I'm at Newmark. I'm very easy to find. And if you send me a message there, I'm also happy to chat further and get to know your audience.
Perfect. And for everybody listening, just so you know, we'll definitely put some links in the show notes so you can just click on it and head right on over. Check out Liz's profile on LinkedIn. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. Each and every day we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way on your journey as well. So again, hit that subscribe or follow button. And Liz, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thank you, Adam.